What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. We've got a great one lined up for you today because crypto is rallying. Is this dip, this crash, this pullback, whatever you want to call it, is it completely over? We'll take a look at the charts. This is something that's a little delayed. I thought it would happen a couple of days ago, but better late than never. That's something that my mom always told me to say. Anyway, we got a lot more to talk about. Bitcoin conference, we're going to give you an update. It's day number 2, and the Bitcoin conference has a major problem. And one of the problems is that I was playing my phone on sound there. I don't know if anyone picked that one up. We're going to discuss what that is. But before we get going into all of the content, you've got to do 2 things. 1, smash the like button. It is free, and you can do it quite easily. Number 2, if you are new here, make sure if you enjoyed the episode, you hit that subscribe button. But first, before we get into the content, let's roll our intro, T-Shroom. All right. Gonna have a great show today, guys. Kind of laid back. I'm joined here by T-Shroom, and for the first time ever, we have a live recording. We are not alone in the room during this show, T-Shroom.
That's right. And it's not a mouse. It's not a cat.
No.
It is a Matt. It is a Matt C. Matt, wave for the good people. You can barely see him.
He's in the shadows.
There he is. Look at that.
There he is. There he is.
Beautiful man.
Good stuff here. Yeah, it's been a very fun show. Anyone who was worried about Matt's safety yesterday, we rescued him. Yes, he was starving. He was crumpled up into a ball. He was in the fetal position, crying profusely. But we rescued him. He is safe. He is well. And he is in the room with us live and proof of life. T-Shirt, I didn't ask you a very important question, though. And I got to get going with this question, then we can get into the show. How are you doing today?
Wow. Tim, I appreciate you taking the time to ask.
Yes.
I'm doing better than I deserve, Tim.
Good.
How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. Tired. Doing a lot of walking.
Yeah.
A lot of we've now compensated some of the walking with some of the scootering.
Yeah.
Lime. Shout out to Lime. They're not a sponsor of the channel, but they should be. They have a great deal, at least here in Nashville, that for $15 you get 60 minutes of scooter riding. It's quite the steal.
60.
60.
1 hour.
60. 1 hour of scooter riding.
Yeah.
For only $15. It is a lifesaver. But you guys didn't come to hear about the scooters. You came to hear about the crypto.
That's right.
Let's check out what is happening in just a second. There we go. Bubbles today. You guys remember yesterday's show when we had a sea of red? Well, today is the exact opposite. Pretty much what we talked about would happen on the show yesterday with the rebound continuing up. Only, I'll tell you this, guys, again, day number 2 of Tim getting the price prediction a little wrong. I thought we would hesitate around 66K. Turns out we went a lot higher, but I love seeing what I'm seeing right here. And what I love about this is, look at this bubble right here. 20% to the upside, T-Shirt, and it's really not even that big of a bubble. Why? Because you just look around and you see a plethora of coins with 17%, 15%, 15%, 16%, 12%, 8%, just a big gain, rebound in the space. And we're going to take a look at some of those altcoins. We're going to save some time today for some good Q&A for you guys to get some access to some TA on your favorite coins. But let's take a look at what Bitcoin is doing. As I said, yesterday we did have, if we were to come down here, and I'm going to have to look at which time frame it was, but I think it was it must have been the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour chart, we definitely had a smart trail, and yesterday we had a breaker block, a bearish breaker block sitting at 66K. Well, today we have now flipped everything, turning it into a bullish breaker block. We now are sitting on support. So even if we were to pull back down to 66K, which was supposed to be resistance based off the 4-hour smart trail, it now has turned into a strong level of support. This is something very good. We actually still are looking at further upside action. Could we make it to 70,000 before the next level of resistance? We're going to talk about some news that absolutely could catapult us up to those levels. Let's see what we're looking like on the oscillators here on the 4-hour chart. Lots of room to the upside. If you guys did not see this yesterday, even though it hadn't flashed when the show was live, we got our buy signal with our 3 bullish points. Green reversal, green momentum, bullish, money flow. This is what you want to see when you're bullish. That was a great buy signal. And again, we're running into right now, we have a lot of room to the upside with all of our oscillators. We have a lot of room before we run into our next level of resistance, again, coming in closer to 69,420. But that's the 4-hour chart. Let's look a little bit lower down. How is the hourly chart looking at the moment? Rising level of support once again. Could we pull back on this rally to 66? 66.4, give or take? Yes, but that would be a higher low, still extremely bullish. We have a breakout prediction here, again, 69 to almost 70,000 for our take profit on the 1-hour chart. There's an order block sitting above us, but that's not necessarily a bearish one, so don't necessarily be too worried about 68K. It might have some psychological selling pressure right there, but nothing necessarily too crazy. Our oscillators, here's where you will see a little bit of reason why I think we might take a small dip before we go back up, and that's because when you take a look at this right here, yeah, the 4-hour chart gave us great buying signals yesterday, but now we're a little overextended. We do have a lot of reversals coming into play. We're under bearish momentum, but this is what's getting me the most concern about the short time frame is the money flow is starting to head to the downside, but there was excessive buyers on the hourly chart. They will leave, and that should cause price to be somewhat downward. Again, lots of support, both hourly and 4-hourly chart sitting here around 66.5, so that is my expectation of where price goes back to before it recoups. But that is looking very, very bullish. And here's the bigger thing is we talked about yesterday. While we didn't say it was a guarantee, we talked about the potential of if Bitcoin had come only to 66K and rejected, we might have seen a head and shoulders pattern in play, which would have sent the price of Bitcoin potentially all the way down to roughly 58, almost 50, just below $59,000. The good news is that what this move is doing is canceling out that head and shoulders pattern. It doesn't mean that there's a 0% chance we don't drop to 60K, and you'll see that when we look at our high block, we still have some liquidity down those levels, but we took out the majority of it. When you look at our liquidation trading, the majority of the heavy longs were taken out when we dropped here below 64,000. Now it really does look like the trades want to push further to the upside. You just might need to deal with a small pullback back down to 66, turn what used to be resistance into support, a major bullish move for Bitcoin. We're going to check back in here on the charts in just a second because there's something else I want to take a look at that's very important, but I did see a super chat. Again, I'm reading my phone here on the chat. Super chat from Big Fish Little Boat. Love the name. Estimate on how much new money comes in after. That's Orange Man today. Again, some people are going to say, why don't you say his name? Maybe we could get away saying his name. I'm just being a little proactive. Don't want YouTube to take us down here. First of all, he is not talking today. We will see, or we'll hear from RFK. I believe Michael Saylor is speaking live as we are shooting this live show. Gary Cardone spoke earlier. I wish I could have heard from him. But we're going to talk about that. The conference has a big problem right now. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show. But yeah, Orange Man will be at the Bitcoin conference. He'll be speaking live at 2 p.m. Central Time. So normally we're shooting this show during Eastern time frames, but we're right now in Tennessee over Nashville. We are in Central Time Zone. He'll be speaking tomorrow at 2 or 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for anyone who's over there. T-Shroom. Really quickly, before I go back into the chart, so we have news we got to talk about, but I wanted to bring one more thing up about Bitcoin. We'll do some news. We'll go into some altcoin discussion because altcoins are making some big moves. How are you feeling right now about how Bitcoin is? Is this renewed some bullishness in you? Are you kind of skeptical? What are your emotions like right now about the Bitcoin rally?
Yeah, I'm feeling optimistic. I mean, I expected volatility, right? You talked about it before the event that we're now here enjoying, thoroughly. Mm-hmm. But we've been expecting volatility. I think a lot of newer investors and traders were shocked to see the price come all the way back down to 63. Moving into this week, I think they were thinking, well, wait, why would the price of Bitcoin go down if the Bitcoin conference is this week? And then we see it shoot all the way back up to live price 67,675. It's like, wow, okay. Mm-hmm. So what I'm thinking, though, is this is business as usual, right? The forces that are going to bring about the next big buy thesis are not going to necessarily come from this conference this week. They could, right? Trump could get up there, Orange Man could get up there and say something, right, that the market isn't pricing in yet. Right. But we have to expect that even adding Bitcoin to the National Reserve is potentially priced in. Now, why? Because it's just an announcement. Actually doing it, first of all, Orange Man would have to be in office. It'd have to be, passed by the proper, bodies, whether that be Congress or the Senate or both. So it's not like that's going to happen overnight, right? And some of you might hear that and you're like, oh man, that kind of sucks. Well, it's just true, right? So he hasn't announced it first of all. The rumors are well circulated. Cynthia Loomis has been outspoken about it. So I think ultimately whatever can be said that we know of, the rumors are baked in, right? Now, if Orange Man gets up there or RFK gets up there and says something nobody was expecting, like, for instance, hey, we're going to be, when we're adding these Bitcoin to the reserve, we're also going to be doing it in tandem with other central banks like Japan and the UK, and throw in Australia or something like that. That would be bigger. That would be not baked in yet. So ultimately, not surprised by the volatility. We see that every event, right? I think where it is now is a good place, and where we found support is also a good place. It's a higher low. A higher low than back in mid-July. So
I think I agree with a lot of what you said. I'll take one slightly different opinion, but I think we're not like on polar opposite sides of this opinion. I think we're just sitting slightly different. And that is when you say like the concept of the buy the rumor, sell the news when it comes to potentially Orange Man announcing tomorrow that his plan, if he's elected or re-elected president of the United States, is to start to add Bitcoin to the treasury and everything. While the rumblings is that what he's going to say, it's not like tomorrow that action takes place, right? Buy the rumor, sell the news is more like, hey, we think that a Bitcoin is going to be approved, and then we think that it'll start trading live on this day, right? So there was bullishness when there was hype for the Bitcoin ETF way back in September. Then there was more bullishness when it became approved, but then the sell the news didn't take place until the actual event. So in this case, if we're going to compare the potential treasury being, Bitcoin being added to the treasury, the buy the rumor started with the hype. So I think some of the rally we're seeing right now is based off of that hype, which is a start. Then I believe if Orange Man confirms it tomorrow, then that hype will go tenfold and will continue to go up, up, up. And then in the future, when there's an announcement of something happening, that's when you have potential to sell the news. Now, again, I don't think that if Orange Man says this tomorrow, that means the price is going to shoot up to 80K or anything. But could it potentially, let's just say, I'm right about what we're looking at in the charts right now, and we cool off back down to 66K, maybe sometime around the time where Orange Man's speaking, and then he says this, could we see an emergence back above 70K? I think it's possible. I think that even though that rumbling and rumor is being circulated, to hear it from the horse's mouth himself, and that's not an insult to him, that's the expression, hear it from the horse's mouth.
Have some respect, Tim.
That will cause another big boost. I think similar to all of the chaos with where people were feeling about hype of the Bitcoin ETF. The rumblings, it was coming. But as soon as we found out it was coming, it wasn't that we dipped. We actually rallied again because it was confirmed. The rumor had been confirmed it's coming down the road. I don't necessarily see that as a sell the news event. I think, honestly, at this point, if we do see Bitcoin stumble below 66K, my bet is it's going to be have a lot more to do with trying to blame like Mount Gox or even I think that we saw an article today, and the article I saw didn't have numbers, so maybe next week we can get more details on this. But I saw an article today that said that there was massive inflows into Binance. That would be a reason. If there are whales preparing to sell, that would be a reason for Bitcoin's price to drop below 66K. The reason I'm not bringing that article up, just so you guys know, is because literally we wouldn't have anything to bring to you. There is no numbers presented. They didn't give us dates. It just was an article written that said, oh, massive inflow, this could be bearish. That's not really helpful information. But if price goes down, that would be the scenario. I don't think it would be a sell the news event on Orange Man saying his plans on what he would do if elected president.
Yeah, I do. I just take the other one on the,
all right, here we
the
go.
other side.
This is our third bet this week. We're going to find out, guys.
A lot of stakes.
We're going to find out if Bitcoin – we're going to have to go tomorrow afternoon. We won't be live for this because it's Saturday, but we're going to see when Orange Man is speaking. If he says – the opening of this bet depends on him, first of all, saying that he's going to do it, right? So if he doesn't say it, then this bet's moot. Neither one of us win. The concept here is if he announces that Bitcoin is going to back the treasury, What will price do? Will it go up or will it go down? That's our bet, right? You say down, I say up.
I think initially there might be some upwards movement, but
now we're moving the goalpost.
To try to. Well, what do I mean initially? I mean like in the first 5 minutes, there might be some.
Let's go time frame
like
here.
2 or
an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours.
I think by the end of the day, Bitcoin's lower.
All right. So by the end of so here we'll go price here. This is a fun statement here, guys.
This is good.
We're figuring this out as we go. Tomorrow, my expectation. Do you agree with me that you think Bitcoin could revisit 66.5, give or take?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So tomorrow, will Bitcoin be above or below 66.5 in your opinion?
No,
tomorrow night.
No,
tomorrow
because
night.
it depends on what happens the rest of tonight. I mean, there could be some price action that I'm not anticipating.
So we need to clear. All right. We will have to reconvene.
Okay, from the moment that Orange Man starts speaking to the end of the speech.
So where the price is when he is speaking, at the end of the night, will it be higher or lower? You're saying lower. Yes. I'm saying higher. We have our bet. That was messy, but we got there.
What does end of the night mean? It's 8 p.m.?
Gosh darn it. Now there's so many clarifying points here.
11 p.m.
Midnight. Midnight? All right, sir. You got yourself a bet. Okay. Now, Matt, real quick. Matt, are you taking the over the under here? Whose side?
I'm going over.
All right, thank you, Matt. All right.
He's going over?
We have our first team, Tim, here.
So here's why. Is because I think, first of all, these events are classically the prices. Meanwhile, while everybody's celebrating and having a good time, prices meanwhile manipulated by whales all over the world that are trying to sell onto the euphoria of noobs coming in and learning about Bitcoin for the first time. And my camera's not playing along. I think though that look, if you're watching for the first time, you're new to crypto. I might be sounding bearish. I'm extremely bullish on Bitcoin in the long term, right? It's just that these events we thought that this event might be different. So far, it has shown me that it's not. It's just not a different event. And the thing the variable that could still be different is this Bitcoin being added to the reserve thing, and the situation with that is that I think it's baked in. I think that the amount of money, the big whales already know, have been exposed to that line. It's not like some whale's going to find out, Bitcoin's going to be added to the treasury. Oh, I got to buy more Bitcoin now. I think it's all but confirmed. I think Orange Man gets up there and confirms it, and there might be an initial price spike, right? But I think ultimately throughout the rest of the day they're selling, right? And it's just day-to-day intraday trading manipulation.
We will sort this out. We will know here in 30-something hours.
Yeah.
It's 12 midnight Nashville time.
12 midnight Nashville time. That's Central Time. All right. But we'll sort this out in Discord. If you guys are in our free Discord, we will keep you up to date on what's happening on the bet because, again, we won't be live tomorrow. But let's go back to my chart here for a second. There was something I wanted to talk about as we about to transition. Well, we're not going to transition here. We're going to do there's some more news we have to cover about. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to talk about, you know what? Now that we're walking through this T-shirt, I think we should just go ahead and let's just stay on Bitcoin. Let's talk about Bitcoin because what I want to talk about is going to transition us from Bitcoin into altcoins.
Yeah.
But we are not done talking about Bitcoin just yet. Here's other reasons. And this might make you rethink your own bet here, T-Shirt, because you're about to read some stories that are very, very bullish for Bitcoin price going forward.
And haven't really moved price too much.
Yeah, but they're new. They're new, and people got to continue to digest them, and they're going to
That's true.
What's going on?
That's true.
What's going on?
That's true. No, these are bullish stories, and we're going to cover them. Van Eck, CEO, says Bitcoin makes up way over 30% of his portfolio. Mm-hmm. He said this in a speech here at Bitcoin 2024. Very exciting to see. And Van Eck is all over the place. They're on they're on these hats that they're passing around, the HODL hats that are really, really cool. It's a Van Eck hat. So there you go. Mm-hmm. They're bullish. So that's what do you think about that one, Tim? Do you think that this is now? I have a question for you. Do you think that this is 30% of his risk portfolio, or do you think that this is his whole portfolio, investment portfolio?
It doesn't actually really matter which it is. Perception is everything. Does it really affect you or me or the Bitcoin price if it's 30% of his risk or 30% of his total? If he's out here saying 30% of his portfolio, and he's considered a financial guru that people want to emulate, that will just incentivize other people to look at their portfolios and say, man, mine's way lower than 30%. But CEO Van Eck, he's saying, okay, I got to get mine to 30%. So even if he's lying to us and he doesn't own a single Satoshi, him just saying that statement, I believe, is overly bullish. And yeah, we could sit here and try to speculate how much he actually personally owns. But then you'd also have to get into, it's like, well, let's just say we picked his risk portfolio or his total portfolio. Well, do we even know what his total portfolios are worth? What if it's 10 million? What if it's 50 million? That makes very big differences. Yeah. I don't think it really matters what his actual net worth is. I think him just saying that statement, I own 30% of my portfolio is Bitcoin, massive bullish case for his constituents.
I completely agree, and I think who are his constituents? I think it's Wall Street proper, right? It's people that respect Wall Street minds, like Jamie Dimon, Larry Fink. It's interesting we don't know his name. It's not included in this tweet. I'm sure it wouldn't be that hard to find his name, but I think you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter. 30% is more than 2%. And a bunch of rich people are probably going to buy more Bitcoin on Wall Street as a result of this. And let me make clear too, if Orange Man tomorrow says something that is not priced in, right? Is some like I said, if he says, and we're doing this in coordination with the Japanese and the UK, central banks are going to be adding Bitcoin to their reserve, then I think price goes much higher by the end of the day, much higher, just on the announcement, not on the actual buying spot. So make that clear. Now, who is buying spot? The state of Michigan, adding Bitcoin ETFs to its pension fund, discloses $6.6 million worth of Bitcoin. That is really, really wild, Tim. This is the third headline this year. If you have American city or state and pension fund purchasing Bitcoin, do you think that this incremental increase in pension funds buying Bitcoin, do you think that this is starting to desensitize the market? Or do you think that this is just really, really, really bullish?
It's extremely bullish, even though that number, 6.6 million, is not going to move the needle that much. It's bullish in the sense of when we look at what is a pension fund. I mean, pension fund, we're talking about long-term security. You don't mess with that. You don't go out and get risky assets. They're not going to be going out and getting things that have a chance for a big upside but could be really dangerous. They go for the safest, most secure things out there. And so for them to have a single penny in Bitcoin is extremely bullish in what it communicates about how Bitcoin is perceived. Even though we think massive gains are still coming, we think that you're going to probably at least 3x your money from here on your Bitcoin investment in the next year. It is not perceived as a risky asset if pensions are purchasing it right now. So it's a statement, again, more so than a specific number actually helping boost the price of Bitcoin. Yeah, and Matt in the background, if you guys don't hear, he said it will replace bonds. So it's like, do we see pensions now saying, we don't want to be backing and supplying our pension funds with this weak, feeble U.S. dollar. We want it to be in a position of strength. I'm assuming that they probably adopt gold as well, but look at them buying up Bitcoin. It's, again, the statement speaks louder than the number 6.6 million.
Yeah. Absolutely. And check this out. This is the CEO of Van Eck. His name is Jan Van Eck. So
family business.
It's family business, exactly. Quite a large family business,
yeah.
Which is really, really cool. Well, it's not just Jan Van Eck. It's not just the state of Michigan.
It also might be Jan.
Jan?
He might be Jan Van Eck.
What makes you say that, Tim?
Sometimes J's are silent.
Yeah. I think that's Dutch, right? Van Eck sounds very Dutch to me.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
is Jan Van Eck? All right. I already won one today. Matt's with me on two. Listen.
They announced it at the conference.
You're on a bad streak here. You're on a bad streak. But listen, you won the other day, so we can't just rule you out. You have a winning track record.
That's right.
You're just not doing so well today.
Yeah, I said the ETH ETF was priced in for this if you keep score at home.
And you did a great job.
But luckily, it's not me that you're relying on in your portfolio to go up. It's Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is continuing to go in the right direction. It is right every day because it is. Check this out. This is a clip from RFK last night at the fight that we were also at. Let's take a look. Fun. Let's take a listen.
How has your experience been so far?
I'm a huge supporter of Bitcoin. I was here a year ago at the other Bitcoin conference. I went home with most of my wealth into Bitcoin, so I'm fully committed.
How was your experience?
So, and a lot of folks already knew this. Again, if you're newer to crypto, that's a lot more value for you.
And what they don't tell you that's even more bullish about this clip, T-Shroom, is moments later he stopped the announcement to take photos with Haktua Girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible.
Fun fact there.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
That was the bigger headline, I think.
I'm surprised that you brought light to that. As someone who's not.
I'm not. We're not going to talk. Listen, she's a person. Don't dehumanize her, T-Shroom. Wow. She deserves value and respect like every other human.
Wow. I just can't win today, Tim. I can't win. We're having fun.
Anything else bullish here about Bitcoin before we transition?
Yeah. I mean, we got a whole nother day. We got a whole nother day.
We have another day.
And RFK hasn't even spoken today, right? We're going to be tuning into that very, very soon. Michael Saylor is speaking right now, and then RFK is going to speak. Tomorrow we got a whole nother day, and it is just a bullish frenzy here. I think the overall tone, I don't have it pulled up, but Fred Krueger said it pretty well. Some of you may know Fred Krueger from Twitter. He said the vibe is that nobody here is looking to sell, and it's true. Nobody at this conference is like skeptical.
Listen, I want to remind people, we discussed the concept of, yes, historically, Bitcoin conferences were buy the rumor, sell the news events, right? Bitcoin seemed to always pump into the actual conference, and then it would crash during the conference. But if you look at this time frame, you go to my chart here, T-Shroom, as a whole, again, we were mostly falling here. If you really what you want to look at here, you go back all the way to March, we did not see sustained upward movement. We did start an upward movement earlier in July, so maybe you're going to make a comment that this is a pump into the rally. But on the 4-hour chart, let's just take a look at what is what. This is days before. This is back on Monday. We peak up here at 68.4. We begin to fall for the next couple of days until the 25th. 25th was day number 1 of the Bitcoin conference, and so far we're getting towards the end of day number 2. We have 3 days total, but so far the bulls are in control. And again, it's going to go back to what we're talking about with our bet for tomorrow. As Orange Man wraps up the conference pretty nicely, there technically is, I think, one more speaker after him, but it'll be done. When Orange Man is finished, Bitcoin conference is finished. Will he bring the close? Will he bring a bullish close, or will he potentially dip the markets? And T-Shroom is right that what he says is a sell the news type of event. I think, though, again, I told you guys, I thought that this conference was going to be different than the past, that instead of being a sell the news type of event, I thought this was going to be, for the first time in its history, a bullish event,
now,
even in short-term price action.
Now, let me give you the keys, because while I wouldn't even say that I'm bearish. I think it's a buy the rumor. I think it's buy the rumor, hold the news, right?
Okay.
I think that's what the market's going to end up doing. Will the price be lower than when Orange Man starts speaking? That's my bet, right?
Yeah.
I think
you're not predicting a price like to 60,000.
But if you're newer to investing, you're newer to trading, you're newer to crypto, what you should take away from this is, I better sell because price is going to go lower. That shouldn't be your conclusion here. Your conclusion is, I better get some capital ready in the exchange where I buy Bitcoin so I can buy it lower, right? It's either that, or you need to go research Bitcoin more to understand why you should be buying it, right? Just because Tim and I seem smart and we're in a huge community of people who love buying Bitcoin doesn't mean that you're convinced, right?
Yeah.
Or that you have a strong conviction of why you bought Bitcoin and why you're holding it. The amount of research that you should be proportional to the amount of that you hold, because when the going gets tough, you need to have a strong why. Why am I holding that Bitcoin? If your why is not strong, your hands aren't going to be strong. You're going to sell for loss, and you're never going to come back to the markets. You're never going to have financial freedom. So do the research required to understand why you're holding Bitcoin and why there's a freaking conference that's able to buy one of the most expensive convention centers in the United States to be able to have a giant conference about a digital asset. Right?
Yeah.
Do the research. It really, really would be worth your time.
I think you're dead on. Before we transition, just to kind of re-echo what he's saying, guys, if you want to trade volatility and you want to look for opportunities, look for opportunities. But if you're a long-term investor, which I venture to say at least half of our listeners are probably not trading that often. They're mostly long-term investors.
Right.
Yeah, you should not be worrying anytime soon about the next place you're going to take profit. You should only be thinking about when is the next time I'm going to be buying more to continue to add to my bag. And so all this talk of price could go up, could go down, the only thing you should be asking is, where do I buy next? Where do I buy next? Where do I buy next? Do not be asking the question, when do I sell? That is a trader's game at this point. We've got a long, long time to the upside. We'll tell you, we'll let you know ahead of time when it's time to start asking the question, when do I sell? Well, we're not close to that time. Let's go back to my screen here as we transition into some altcoins. And go ahead and start in chat. Drop some coins you want me to take a look at, because I have a couple that I think are looking very interesting on the charts. But I want your guys' suggestions here as well. Bitcoin, again, as we mentioned, currently, actually, as we're talking, starting to get back up wrestling with 68,000. So we'll keep an eye on that if it happens during our live show. But lots of bullishness happening there. You're going to see it's not as much with Ethereum. Ethereum's definitely underperforming Bitcoin at the moment. You even see that if you were to go take a look at the ETH over Bitcoin chart. It's one of the few over Bitcoin charts. It's in the red technically still today. So keep an eye on that one. But you're going to see other coins like Solana rallying pretty well. Actually, the opening of the daily candle up 6%. It's getting back to wrestling with highs that it had just a couple of days ago, similar to Bitcoin. You do see Chainlink up 5% on the day. You see Cardano up 6% on the day. However, there's a chart that I want to bring to your attention that's also rallying right now, and this is a callback kind of like to former things that we have talked about, and that would be the BTC.D chart, otherwise known as Bitcoin dominance, back up, ladies and gentlemen, above 56% in the last 24 hours, getting higher than we were just back here in June. Not quite as high as the April 57% rally, but this goes back to something we've been talking about for a very, very long time here, is that I predicted, and I got the first half of this prediction wrong, but it looks like the second half I'm going to be dead on. I thought we would hit 60% dominance before the all-time high for Bitcoin. Right? So I thought before Bitcoin eclipsed 69,000, we would see 60% dominance. That ended up not being the case. That doesn't mean, though, that we're not still headed for 60% dominance. And what we're seeing happen right now on the charts is a lot of bullish momentum. In fact, one of the biggest things you should look at right here, I want you to take a look at this chart, this oscillator. Just a little bit ago, back here on the 23rd, we had printed bearish divergence on the daily chart. A lot of people like to trade these and sell them. Like, this would be the sense of saying, all right, Bitcoin dominance is about to crash. We have bearish divergence. We completely ignored that divergence and are now moving really strong with really powerful move to the upside. This is something, the next level of major resistance you're going to be seeing here. More than likely here on the daily chart, you see 57.8, but there's no way we're stopping right there. I think we're going to be retouching this rising level of resistance. If I were to come out to longer time frames, let's go out here to the weekly chart. You will see the take profits for the weekly chart are going to start here at 59%. There's a chance all the way up to 63. I think that's a little rich. But I think 60% still definitely in the cards for the Bitcoin dominance before true altcoin season that happens later this year. What is my point here, though? I want to make sure you guys understand. While Bitcoin dominance is still going to the upside, and for that reason, you still should have some hefty Bitcoin in your portfolio. There will be a time where altcoins go explosive. However, that doesn't mean altcoins won't rally between now and then. As a whole, though, this just tells you, all right, let's say you are somebody who has a large Bitcoin portfolio and you've been asking the question, when should I maybe move some of my Bitcoin into more risky alts? The time is not yet, because right now we are watching during dips, Bitcoin is outpacing, or not being outpaced, excuse me. It is falling way less than altcoins, picking up its dominance, and even on days like today where Bitcoin's price is rallying and altcoins are rallying, the dominance on Bitcoin is still picking up massive steam. So this does communicate to us it is not altcoin season. The altcoins are not about to make crazy fireworks. They will be going to the upside, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but it's still the right time to have Bitcoin as a heavy portion of your portfolio. That time will change. If you guys look at the historical altcoin season, anyone who's maybe newer to the channel, there are times called altcoin seasons at the end. It's not the end of the bull market. It's really as the bull market is going, but it's the end of the craziness of Bitcoin. For example, December of 2020 or January 2021, Bitcoin dominance fell off a cliff. Same thing way back here. In February of 2017, Bitcoin dominance sitting at 95% would go on for the next couple of weeks to fall off a cliff. That is altcoin season. That is when it's time to maybe take your Bitcoin profits and let the altcoins really ride. That time is not now. It's going to be later on. With that said, though, alts are rallying. Let's take a look at a couple of these bad boys, starting off with Solana. We've been tracking this one now for a long time. Let's get rid of our Fibonacci level that's kind of giving me just added noise here on the charts. As I mentioned, it is rallying very well. Unlike almost any other altcoin, I wanted to start with Solana because when you take a look at others, look at recent price action on Solana. You know, we've been rallying here again since like July. Well, actually, not even since July 5th, really. Since the big dip here was July 5th. I don't know why I blinked on that one. July 5th. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. We've been rallying on July 5th, and since that time, our high was 184. We are right back to recapturing that that high of this movement, similar to Bitcoin, very unsimilar to Ethereum, for example, whose high was 3,500. We're not close to that. We haven't even eclipsed 33 again. This goes back to something I was wrong about, T-Shun was right about. Ethereum is not getting the massive demand, despite the fact that they now have a live trading ETF. I think there's just still increased suppression from Grayscale selling off and not as much demand coming in. It's nowhere near those highs. Even some of these other coins that are rallying pretty well, like Chainlink, and we'll take a look at it if you guys want to, not anywhere close to this $15 we were just at a couple of days ago. Cardano rallied all the way up here to 45 cents, nowhere close to it here at 41. So while a lot of other altcoins are making some good moves, Solana continues to be the altcoin that it's like you don't even treat this like an altcoin right now. It is not operating the way most alts are. It is almost in its own season. Forget alt season. It's Solana season, and it's been Solana season for a while. I heavily recommend you guys do not trade against it. But here's another big reason. Before we even get into the charts and predictions of what Solana is about to do, Solana made a big move on a different chart, and that would be the coin market cap rankings, where it just today jumped BNB, that's otherwise known as Binance Coin, to become the 4th largest crypto, number 3 if you're only counting coins and not counting stable coins, but it is now number 4 of everything. This is a prediction that we said would happen. I do think that by the time the bull market is at least coming close to the end, do not be surprised to see Solana with the number 3 next to it after it jumps Tether. This is very, very big. Hard to bet against Solana. I continue to maintain my long-term price prediction that we're going above 1,000, possibly getting closer to 1,600. But what does this one look like over the next couple of days? Well, there's a lot of prices. There's levels above us that I'm going to keep an eye on here on the 4-hour chart. Definitely keep an eye around 185 to 196. I would really like to see that happen and us defend this one. We could come down here to the bottom of this breaker block and say 178. This yellow line here is a level of former resistance, an order block that should have seen Solana be rejected. But at the current price action, we're flirting with the concept of turning it into major support. If that does not hold, though, and we're going to have to take a look at oscillators to see if that happens, on the 1-hour chart, I'm going to look at the next level of support. I'm going to be kind of watching back down here around our smart trail. 177, 176 is probably a level I'd be comfortable saying. A pullback, like we talked about with Bitcoin, maybe revisiting 66. Maybe we do see Solana revisiting mid-$170 levels. But let's go ahead and look at our oscillators as well. Let's see what the strength is looking like right here. A lot of strength from our MACD, a lot of strength from our RSI. The Luxago oscillator, the money flows back to being positive. This was not like a great buy signal the way we saw with Bitcoin, but it is a signal that the bulls just really are not wanting to give any moves to the bears whatsoever. I think that this does give us a sign of strength coming in. Let's see what the 1-hour chart looks like. There we go. All right, where's the pullback potentially going to coming in? 1-hour chart right now overextended. While the money flow is still positive, we're seeing some divergences come into play here. Also, that money flow with excessive buyers right now, it will probably have a little bit of a flip right there. And again, I'm going to go ahead and say Solana probably making a move in the next couple of days. Again, 4-hour chart saying back up above 180, back into maybe the 190 category. Longer time, daily frame, you could possibly get up here towards 200 once again. But in these short time frames, and I have to go to the 1 hour for this one, on these short time frames, I would not be surprised to see a small pullback down here to like 177. Let's call it 177, and then a move to the upside. So as T-Shun kind of mentioned in the last bit, what's the takeaway from here? The takeaway is not where to take profit, where to sell. If you're a trader and you want to be in our trading group and our VIP group, there's lots of ways to do that, and we can have a completely different conversation. The TA I'm doing for you guys is where is the next level you want to be buying more Solana. And right now, if you have some money and you're saying, I don't want to miss out on Solana getting up towards that $200 level, I think you'll have an opportunity a little closer to 177 in the next couple of days. Let's see, T-Stream. I wasn't able to look at chat because, again, with our setup here in Nashville, I can't read chat while I'm going. Did you see any other coins that people look really eager for us to do some TA on?
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Solana we already did. Jasmine. Thank you, Matt. Somebody was asking, where's Matt? We've got the Matt cam here. There he is.
He's back there.
We've got him in the dark, but now he's in the light. So Jasmine probably be good. Good one to queue up.
Yeah.
There he is, looking good. We're having fun.
We're having fun. Let's take a look at Jasmine. Let's see what's happening with one of my favorite risky coins. This is if you guys watch our show and we talked about portfolios, this is not a safe pick. I don't want anyone to think that this is a crazy safe pick, but it is a high risk, high reward pick, which sometimes can be your greatest money makers as a whole. A little bit of a head and shoulders pattern potential here, T-Shroom. We actually kind of, oh man, I don't know if you remember this, T-Shirt. We kind of predicted this would be the level where it would pull back to. We talked about the potential head and shoulders pattern in play here where you do see a left shoulder over here. You do see a head. We talked about this lower high here and how the neckline would be declined. And so based off of a cloning of this move, which is something that is not perfect, but you can use to try to predict where the right shoulder would get to, we said based off of former resistance and this declining level of a trend line for the shoulders, we would see it pull back here to 2.5 cents. That was borderline a perfect call here, T-Shroom. So another win for both of us. Here we go. High fives. We don't get to do this because we don't.
Oh, wait.
Oh, I just swung and missed. How embarrassing. You're just making me look like a fool. All right, come back over to my chart. Good call right there. What does this mean, though? Anyone who's saying, all right, Tim, good, cool, you called it. Inverse head and shoulders pattern. What does this mean, a potential big breakout for Jasmine? Well, if it fulfills its full potential, and it has not broken above the neckline yet, so I want to make sure the last part to confirm this is an inverse head and shoulders pattern is we need to break above this declining blue line right here. But if we do it, this could potentially send Jasmine's price up above 5 cents. Something very, very bullish. Not something I think we're going to see in the next day or two or next week. That's probably something to look maybe next week if things start really getting bullish, but probably the next couple of weeks. Sometime maybe mid-August, I think we see prices up there. Based off the daily chart, we still have a take profit kind of coming in here between 0.3 and 0.4. I said 0.3. 3 and 4 cents is what we're kind of looking at right there. Shorter time frames on this 4-hour chart. Kind of backing that up, that I think 3 cents, somewhere just below 3.5 cents is going to be our breakout spot. Massive support kind of being built here on the 4-hour chart. Lots of bullishness from our oscillators here as well. We did, just like Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart, get a nice buy signal here. We had one on the 23rd. We got another one right here on the 25th. That is the bullish reversals, bullish momentums, bullish, look at that, was bullish divergence right there, and also bullish money flow. This is positive right now on the 4-hour chart for Jasmine coin. And I told you guys, I thought Bitcoin and Solana might have a cool-off, but what I'm looking at right here, all right, there's a little concern. Maybe we do see a little bit of cool-off here. 1-hour chart showing a slightly overextended. You guys can see here, reversal, bearish momentum. The money flow is not negative, but the MACD is about to cross negative. I think we do see it cool off a little bit, but not that low. I think we come back down here, fast rising smart trail, big bullish order block. Maybe you get an opportunity to get at 2.8 cents. Honestly, though, somewhere here on 2.8 cents. It's going to be about the best you probably get on Jasmine. This is one I'll just go ahead and tell you. It's so small. I don't think it's a very big pullback whatsoever. Like from current price, you're maybe looking at a 2% pullback. If you're interested in getting in on Jasmine, you're probably looking at a good opportunity at the moment, even if price retraces just a little bit more after this. I like what we kind of currently looking at here for the Jasmine coin. Moving forward, again, look for 4 to 5 cents in the next couple of weeks on Jasmine. And then guess what? Last thing I'll say before I leave, again, we'll just kind of zoom out here. This is something we've been talking about here for a minute. I got to zoom out way far. Let's go to the daily chart here for this one.
Oh, wow.
We discussed this long ago, that this big move here, bull flag opportunity, still, you could see Jasmine with the things that if they click correctly, make a move up here even higher and potentially reach 11 cents. Let's put that one I'm going to put that one as a maybe sometime early to mid-September potential 11-cent Jasmine coin. And, of course, if you guys want to see my price prediction, I think I gave a price prediction earlier on the channel of closer to bull market tops being 60 to 70 cents. 60 to 70 cents here for Jasmine. That might be conservative. Some people might think that's a low one. I'm going to give it a reasonable price prediction. But when you're looking at a current price level of just under 3 cents and you potentially see 60 to 70 cents, that's a lot of gains. That's a lot of gains for an investment. High risk, high reward. Think about it.
Yep.
What else we got here? We probably go for another 5 minutes, and we're gonna call it a little bit early today. Again, get back to the conference, try to meet up with some more people and get some stuff done.
Render.
Render, ICP, and stacks.
We're gonna do this. We cannot do all of those. We will do render, and then where's the do render? Render's it.
Yep.
We're gonna cut off the renders.
In the meantime, we had a comment here from Redline, but queue up render. Bitcoin looking like it's setting up for a nice double top rejection for the end of the conference. Orange Man says anything, it'll be a fake out and shake down.
Okay.
I'm with T-Shroom on this 100%. Gonna think inverse always.
Why did you like that comment so much?
You know,
what drew you to that comment to think that was the right one to read?
Just that name, Redline.
Yeah. I was always thinking too. I didn't think there was anything else about
It's like that Drake song, Redline Blink. Is it? Yeah, Redline. I can't hear that Redline Blink.
Okay, let's not get demonetized, first of all. Second of all,
okay.
When we sing songs, sometimes YouTube gets a little aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a big Drake fan, so I don't know that song. Cannot confirm nor deny. Here's the thing. I want you to know I'm a T-Shroom fan. I'm not team T-Shroom on this issue.
Uh-huh.
I think you're going to be wrong.
Okay.
But again, you do have a track record of being right.
That's true. I do have a track record of being right.
So there's a chance.
Also, my stock picks have been pretty good as well. And a question along those lines, Moltsanti said, Are you boys all in on crypto, or do you have sticks too? I'm assuming he meant stocks.
Probably.
The only stocks that I have that aren't Bitcoin price exposed are Microsoft and Tesla. All the other stocks I have are like Bitcoin mining companies, or they are Coinbase, or just I like BitX too, which is a double leverage of Bitcoin spot.
Nice.
Bitcoin futures, actually.
Here's a good question before we get into render. This one, I like it, and I'm reading off my phone here.
Okay.
T-Shirt, what does that hat say?
This hat?
Yeah.
It says "Make money great again."
Yeah.
Which I guess I assume that's a reference of like the gold back the dollar. I don't know what else that could be in reference. Stupid joke. Stupid. Yeah. It's a Bitcoin hat.
It was a good swing. Barry Bonds, home run leader, missed a lot of a lot of hits.
It's true. You can't
struck out a good amount.
You're gonna miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Even the greats swing sometimes and they miss.
That's true.
So don't give up. Don't give up. You are a great stand-up
Never give
comedian.
up.
Let's check out what Render is doing. Starting off the daily chart, let's talk about a level that Render really needs to get above. So I can't be overtly crazy bullish on this. Are we on my screen? Oh, okay, great. This bearish breaker block and smart trail in play here that we did have a rejection on the 21st, it's still sitting there. And while you do see a take profit potentially suggesting we could get back up here to this falling resistance level, let me turn off Lux for just a second here. Render is in a falling channel that will be bullish long term, but there's just some resistance between us and that point at the moment. Render has been struggling here. So it's one of those things that if you want to buy low prices, we have been here pretty low recently. I'll take a look at shorter time frames. But until we get back above, like we've seen with Bitcoin and others, and turn the daily smart trail back into a blue smart trail of support, the bears are kind of still in control here on Render. What are we looking at for price action to feel better? Well, let's start by getting above $7.37, and then let's get up here pretty much about $8, and you can feel more confident about the bulls when it comes to Render longer term. When it comes to short term, though, let's take a look here, because it's had, as we mentioned in the intro, a very good rally for the day. And on the 4-hour chart, it is back in the bullish camp. It does look like we could make a move between 710 and 774 before we get rejected. And if we do pull back, what I'm probably going to be keeping an eye on is a nice level of support that we have in play here around 650. If you see 650, very good buying spot for Render. I do recommend that as a level to keep an eye on here. Could be that we don't even get there, though, because even the hourly smart trail of support rising very quickly. I can't tell you where that will be in the next couple of days and how far we pull back. I'll just tell you, if you see 650, might not be bad to put in a buy-in order right there for Render. But realistically, what you're looking at right now, as I mentioned, if you want to make small trades, we could be rallying back up to 750. But long term, you're not really going to feel confident about big moves coming until after we get back above $8. Once that happens and the bulls are back seemingly in control, do be prepared for a potential big move on Render on a breakout that could send price to new all-time highs up above 1727. Could this be sometime potentially, in September? We're kind of talking about big moves happening in August into September. maybe we do see a $17 Solana. I almost said Lana. $17 render by that time. But again, I'm going to be very big on this. $8. There's a lot of decisions that have to be made. Let's get above $8, and then we can start to talk about those big moves coming in and the bulls being back in control. With that said, that's going to wrap up today's show. I did want to give a special shout out to the sponsor of today's show, Houdini Swap. If you are looking, we kind of talked about swapping your coins around and making sure you're riding the ones that have better momentum. That's kind of what I'm talking about with Render, is there's other coins with better momentum right now than Render, so Render might not be your best holding. Doesn't mean it won't be long-term, though. But if you want to swap instantaneously, as cheaply as possible, and do it in a way that protects your freedom, your privacy, and everything else, Houdini Swap is the answer. Check out the link down below. Start swapping today. It is simple. It's easy. You don't want to miss out. Thank you to Houdini Swap for being one of our partners here at Investing Bros. Thank you to you guys for continuing to stick around here, even though production's a little lower. We're out here in Nashville. We'll be back. T-Shirt will be in Atlanta with me for Monday through Thursday's shows, I think, or maybe just Wednesday. I think you leave Thursday. But anyways, we're gonna be
not against my will. I want to be there.
We'll see. There's always things can change. Love you guys though. See you on Monday.
Bitcoin above 68.
Is it back above 68?
Yes, it is.
It is. Bitcoin's above 68. All right, T-Shirt. We're gonna see. Guys, before we leave, and you see me both sides.
Double tap.
Guys, if you want to find out more what's going on with the bros and stay up to date with what we're doing, you got to be on our Discord. For example, and I completely forgot we announced this, tonight for all of our bros in Nashville, if you're close, start driving this way. We're going to have a meetup at Martin's Barbecue at 6 p.m. Central Time. So if you're close, get here. 6 p.m. Martin's. You don't want to miss it. For the updates on mine and T-Shroom's bet, you got to be on our Discord. It's free. There's paid versions as well. I recommend you getting in those. Those are awesome. But just even joining the free Discord, you stay connected with the bros and stay up to date with everything that's happening. With that said, though, love you guys. See you on Monday. Adios.
Looking at the wrong camera.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the growth of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.